Hello everyone and welcome back to a best-of-5 series of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran versus Protoss, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on 2,000 atmospheres. Spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map and playing with the red Terran SCVs from France. We have one of the highest ranked Terran players in the world and his name is Clem. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Protoss probes from South Korea, one of the most successful Protoss players in the world. He goes by the name of Trap. Alrighty, so Clem versus Trap. I haven't seen this particular series yet. It's a best-of-5 from Dreamhack Winter. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this game was played in the round of 8 or the round of 16. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, in one of the later rounds of this major tournament, or I guess premier tournament. So it should be in for a really fun one. Generally speaking, map number 1, it is going to be a little bit more laid back. But I've heard that apparently there's going to be some fireworks throughout this series. So we'll find out exactly what ended up going down between these two legends over the course of the next, well, I believe this is going to be a longer one. Over the course of probably the next hour or so. I have no idea if anyone is even up for like an hour-long StarCraft cast. I'm always a little bit hesitant. Like, so here's the thing, right? There have been a couple of best-of-7s that have been played recently that are quite literally 2 to 3 hours long. Now, what is the upper limit, right? I know there's gonna be a bunch of you that would watch a 3-hour-long video, but I also understand that many of you do not have 3 hours to watch a StarCraft video, you know, on like a Thursday afternoon, right? And I know that maybe you're gonna go ahead and put it on your watch later list or something along those lines, but at the rate at which I do release content on this channel, I can imagine a lot of people would just skip a video like that. Anyways, let me know down below in the comment section. Would you watch a 2-hour-long a 2-hour-long best-of-7 series? Maybe I should do it as like a Christmas thing or something. Loko's Christmas gift to the YouTube channel. A best-of-7 series between like Sero and Maru. I believe they've played a very long one recently. I think there was actually also one between Sero and Trap. Also a very, very long series. I always talk about, you know, the pro gamer stamina to be able to play a very long series like that. And apparently there's going to be caster stamina as well. Honestly, that is a bit of a concern for me sometimes, or for me when I do cast a very long series. If I'm shouting into a microphone for several hours, that really can't be good for my voice, right? Although so far, I used to get some vocal issues back in the day. These days, I've gotten a little bit better at like voice warm-ups and making sure that I'm, you know, controlling it a little bit better, but I haven't really had any issues for a long time, and I'd like to keep it that way. Anyways, let me know down below. It's gonna be a proxy Stargate right here from Trap in game number 1. So this Stargate is going to be coming up pretty aggressively. Usually we do have a more macro-focused start in these best-of-5 series, but apparently, yeah, Clem is going to put a starport right here. Not that close to the main base. Probably will be a medevac. Really? Okay. Probably will be a medevac and then a couple of Hellions going into the base. This can obviously deal a lot of damage. At this point, though, I'm a little concerned right here for the Stargate situation. Because obviously, if this is going to be producing a medevac over here, and there's only really one Marine available, this could definitely backfire very, very hard. There's no missile turret or anything along those lines coming up here either. I don't think the Protoss player has any idea that there's going to be Hellions instead of his main base pretty soon as well. So this is actually just about to get extremely aggressive. I hope for Trap's sake that he decides to send in his Oracle right away. Which seems to be the case. Obviously, he needs to be careful that it's not going to be like a Widow Mine somewhere. Anyways, at this point, Clem sees the Oracle. There's absolutely no base defense whatsoever. So I'm saying 9 kills. I mean, there's Jimmy. Sorry, Jimmy. I didn't mean to call you nothing, but I'm saying 9 kills right here. Maybe more. Second Oracle is probably not going to be too long behind either. Anyways, in the meantime, we do have that medevac flying towards the Natural Expo. Trap even going to go for a full wall off over here, so that's kind of neat. Oracle still going to town. It's got 6 kills. Alright, second Oracle will be coming up very soon. Now already though, the probes have been lined up. Actually, a couple of the Adepts will also go down because of that lining up. So an eye for an eye right here in the first game of this series, huh? Alright. Anyway, 6 kills right here. Second Oracle is going into the Natural. And since Trap is like, well, everything is going really well with these Oracles, let me make another one. He's decided to go for a third one too. So both players are taking a tremendous amount of losses. Medevac is going to retreat right now with 2 of those. It's actually kind of funny how even it is. Cyclone at this point is out. Yeah, so I guess I was right in the end, right? 9 SCVs. I actually meant the 9 SCVs for the very first Oracle. I really feel like there could have been like at least 12. I'm not exactly sure. I guess he was busy microing on the other side of the map and making sure he wasn't dying. Alright. So, the problem is, Hellions kind of lose value as the game progresses. Whereas Oracles, I mean, they do also lose value at some point. They're gonna be a hell of a lot more useful, though, than, you know, having a low HP medevac and, you know, a couple Hellions in there. So, I quite like this idea, actually. Just going for a bit of a Stargate transition right now. I don't think Trap was originally planning on that. But now that he's got so much value and it was forced to make all of those Oracles, he's like, well, I guess I'll double down. I also kind of like this move, actually. Sacrificing a few of the Adepts, it seems, just to get more damage done. If the Cyclones, yeah, I was going to say, are trying to defend the main base, the Oracles can come back in once again for more. Oh my god, at this point, apparently, there's so much firepower from those flying units as well that the Cyclones themselves just end up getting picked off. That's 2 of them going down right there. Good start right here for Trap, all things considered. Following it up right now as well with a 3rd Nexus. And we are off to the races with some fireworks here. I thought normally we do fireworks at the end of a series, but... Alright. Who called in the fleet? Yeah, he probably was not intending on really making any more than like 2 Stargate units in this game, and then maybe transition towards a Robo or a Twilight Council. So Twilight Council and Forge are eventually coming up, but... It's very ambitious right now, actually, from Clem right here. Really? We're going that way? Okay, I was gonna say, if you're gonna try and drop over here, maybe that's an option, but you gotta be very careful. You do not get killed by those Phoenixes while you're flying on over in that direction. All right. There's the missile turrets coming up. The problem is, Phoenixes don't really care too much about those sorts of units. Phoenixes are quite a bit more tanky than Oracles, and they can actually withstand quite a few hits as well. There are Widow Mines burrowed in the corners of the main base, so that could be a disaster. Nice little pickup right there. He's got to be careful. Okay. The thing about these Phoenix openers as well is that they sort of just force the Terran player to not go for a lot of siege tanks. So the siege tanks obviously are really, really strong against Protoss, especially when Protoss is clumped up, but the Phoenixes would just lift them up in a big battle. So Clem is sort of forced to go into this army that he's going for right now. It is a very strong force. So he's going to go +1, he's going to go for the combat shield upgrade. Stimpack is just about to finish up. There definitely is potential right now for Clem to move across the map. Worker-wise, it's currently 31 SCVs versus 47 probes. I did see a lot of gateways on the production tab as well, so if Trap actually managed to get enough units out here, I think this should be pretty good for him. Okay, 1 more Phoenix will pop out of the Stargate, but that's going to be the last of that. At the same time, apparently, one of those scouting Hellions also trying to get some work done, forcing Clem to scan on the other side. He now sees that the mineral saturation is already looking pretty solid right here for the Protoss' 3rd base. So I think Clem has to get aggressive here very soon. Now, even though economically speaking, this is a bit of a disaster. I mean, he is going to go for a 3rd CC, it looks like. But army-wise, this Terran army is very scary. Like, one good set of Widow Mine hits can change this game entirely, right? Like, if these Protoss units get popped out of the sky, all of a sudden, this Terran army will be marching across the map, and it's going to make everything different. Right? It's going to change everything very quickly. Revelation, though, here is going to spot those burrowed Widow Mines as well. So despite the fact that Trap doesn't really have vision, he does have those Oracles here for that Revelation ability. Decides to apparently back off. I like this as well. Yeah, I think Trap is making all the right moves. Even going for a 4th Nexus right now upon seeing that his opponent went for a 3rd. I'm actually a little surprised that Clem is playing this passively. He knows that his opponent is very Stargate heavy. So if that's the case, you know that there... Oh my god, Jimmy, where are you going? You know that there's not really going to be any sort of Colossi play or Disruptors out at any point in this game. I mean, not for at least another little while. Ooh, Trap apparently setting up a surround here. Stasis Ward in the middle. A couple of the units do get picked off as well. Wonderful movement here once again by Trap. Getting like, what? 8 or so Marines for basically... Well, basically free. Almost losing one of the Phoenixes. I thought Trap was actually going to sit over here and then wait for that Terran army to march down. Clemdo stimming a Marine forward right there to the Watchtower. It was kept alive for a little while longer, but this is starting to become a major problem right now for Clem. Even these random Widow Mines in the middle of the map are not really getting anything done. It's just an extremely gateway-heavy army here. There's no Marauders really in the mix either. So I guess the Zealots have to be killed by the Widow Mines. Obviously, with a spread like this, though, that can definitely happen. If he's fast enough, he might be able to pick up a couple of the mines before they actually manage to engage. Apparently, Trap, though, is going to try and see if he can force the issue here, I think. He is still pumping out 4 workers at once. He is going to go for the second Robo as well as a Disruptor. Okay, Phoenix is actually getting recalled right now because of a Widow Mine drop that's happening over at the 4th base. That one only getting a single kill, this one not even firing. Yeah, Trap is just playing extremely cautiously here. Like, the thing is, he can play aggressively if he wants to. But what's the point, right? Why would you do so? If you know your opponent is in a bit of a tricky scenario here and there, you know, the move really is on them. Oh my god, perfect force fields there as well. Ay. Trap is looking insane here. Okay. Well, I thought maybe the Widow Mines were going to get some value here, but even that wasn't that great. Terran army is going across the map. All right. Oh, God. Trap is just destroying Clem here. That was pretty much flawless there. That was so good. All right, GG is cold. Clem realizes there's no way he's going to win this. Game number 2. We are on Curious Minds. I like this map. Very quick rush distance, of course, from natural to natural. You can get across the map very quickly. Definitely a little bit smaller than 2000 Atmos, or at the very least it feels that way. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in map layouts, it's actually going to be identical as far as the grid goes. I think actually on Wikipedia, they do tell you the exact size of the map. Let me see. Curious Minds... StarCraft 2, let's see. Curious Minds LE. It's 132 by 124. Okay. And 2000 atmospheres is 144 by 134. Okay, yeah, so 2000 Atmos is a little bit bigger. It's kind of funny how that works. I've had it as many times in the past where I feel like a map is significantly smaller than another map, but then you actually look at the statistics and they're actually identical. It's just because of the way that the maps are obviously laid out. SCV going all the way around, interestingly enough. Alright, really doesn't want to be caught, apparently. Are we gonna go for a cheeky little block over here? Yep, we are. Engineering Bay. Planted right here on the low ground. This is one of those little moves that Terran players like to go for. Apparently a few probes will be pulled from the main base. The thing is, Terrans don't actually want to finish this structure, right? They want to build it to like 99% at most. Because at that point they can still cancel it and get the majority of their resources back. This is now going to force out a Zealot right here. This is one of those moves that at this level really doesn't matter all too much, because Trap will know the perfect response. But if you are a ladder hero, I think you should go for Engineering Bay blocks all the time. I know the Protoss players won't like me saying this, but it's extremely annoying. And the Protoss player is going to have to respond to this. Apparently this is the move you have to make. If you're a Protoss player and you're struggling against this sort of thing, look at what Trap does, right? Trap has definitely run the numbers. He's probably pulled up the Excel spreadsheet. He knows exactly what the most efficient response is, but there's no denying it's very annoying. Anyways. Cybercore is done. Adept will be coming up. Chrono on that one, and I guess we are going to be seeing a Nexus shortly after as well. But already it forced out the double gas. Second pylon inside of the main base, though, so no super aggressive start here this time around from Trap. Clem does still have the one SCV over here. Could even be killed. Yeah. Probius over here was thinking the same thing. Thinking of becoming a hero for his people. I don't know if you want to go all the way in the main base, though. Ah, you could still get it. Nah, no way. Alright, now you're trapped in here. Maybe a little bit ambitious there, Probius. I actually like this move from Clem. This is one of those things we don't really see all too often. But I feel like, again, if you're a ladder hero, you should probably be doing this the majority of the time. Just go for the in-base command center. The amount of times, even at the professional level, I see a natural expo that's forced to be cancelled. It's almost silly. And I mean, I know technically it's inferior, right? Because obviously now, when the command center is done, you're going to morph it into an orbital and then fly it towards the low ground. It's technically inferior because you lose a little bit of time right there as it's flying. But honestly, I think if you're below probably Master League, you should be able to, you should be able to justify making it into the main base just by playing a little bit better as a follow-up. Alright, Widow Mine here getting a nice little bit of value. It's going to march into the main base as well. Alright. Very good right here for Clem. Playing a little bit of a micro game right here with his opponent, and so far, everything's going in his favor. It is once again an Oracle opener right here from Trap. This time around, the Stargate is part of the wall-off in the Natural Expo. Are we going to do the Showtime? I always think of this as the Showtime. I don't know why, but I've seen Showtime do this a whole lot where basically you make oracles, but you don't actually use them aggressively. You just sort of sit in the, you know, defensive with them. I mean, this is an ambitious group of Marines. If we are going to be seeing, once again, okay, it's going to be a Phoenix right now as a follow-up. I was going to say, if we once again see triple Oracle, honestly, 2 Oracles can kill this easy. There's 2 or 3 Widow Mines over here. I almost feel like the Oracle should go in right now. Yeah. I think I can just go and kill this, but maybe he wants to save some energy or as well for Revelation. This is where losing those couple of units earlier, though, is very painful. Here comes the Widow Mine drop. Okay. 1 pickup right there. Pickup actually... Oh my god, he's doing it in a cool way. Look at that. Doing it backwards. The gangster way of picking up a Widow Mine. Anyways, 6 probes, though. Despite that cool move right here from the Phoenix, do end up going down. Clem is going to be forced to retreat. It's a very ambitious group of Terran units over here. Looks like the boost is once again available, and they are going to be able to reunite right here with the rest of the Terran army. Really? Oh, okay. I thought we were once again going to send units across. It makes me feel a little bit better that I see, you know, Mr. Clem also loading a bunch of random units into a Medivac. Generally speaking, that happens in my games all the time when I play Terran, and it's good to see that even Clem apparently accidentally right-clicks his own Medivacs from time to time. I thought he was actually going to send it across there, but that would be a little silly. Anyways, third Nexus is going to be coming up shortly here for Trap, who's now going to be on the aggression. Or he's going to be the aggressor. There you go. English. Complex language, man. Makes no sense. There's a lot of things, actually, that don't make sense in English. I guess there's a lot of things that, in general, don't make sense in languages. Dutch really doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. Anyways, there's a lot of Protoss here available, yeah. Maybe this was a little bit overly ambitious, although one of the Cyclones there is going to be able to get the lock-on the Oracle, and it will get picked off. Clem actually splitting his units there, trying to defend both the natural and the main base, and then Clem, you know, had all of a sudden all those Protoss units inside of the natural. Had to move them down, took a little bit, but eventually they did manage to save the day there. Alright, this is where that a triple CC start would have been a bit of a disaster. Still don't know what that is. There's one at the top section of the map of Curious Minds as well. These guys are really trying to just get as much damage done as possible to the opponent's mineral lines. So how many workers have been killed so far? Really not even that many. Yeah, it's really only 9 in total here. It's not really too impressive at all. Alright. So both players testing the waters, trying to get as much damage done as possible. Well, again though, Trep did lose quite a few of his units here. So the problem is, right, Marines, like, they're relatively easy to replace. 14 Marines obviously is quite a lot. I mean, it's not like Protoss has really lost that much either. I'm just looking right here at the supply counts. I guess it's because Clem has gone for such a large amount of production structures here already. But this Terran push is going to be very, very strong. Especially if you start giving away free units. Did get the Revelation, so at the very least that's going to make things a little bit easier. There is a Stasis Ward over here. No Stasis Ward on the third base. Good scan right there by Clem. He's going to be able to pick that up easy peasy. And right now, actually, this push could become very dangerous. There is battery overcharge available, but no splash damage here at all for our Protoss player. Even a Raven comes in right here, soaks up a couple of those charge impacts. That's pretty sweet. Apparently, though, our French Terran player decides to go for the natural, trying to bait this Protoss player into the Widow Mines. Okay, does manage to get it, even if Phoenix is up ahead, or up overhead rather, also do end up taking quite a bit of damage. Reinforcing Protoss units, though, do get warped in, and this is what always surprises me about this matchup. I swear to God, just like a minute ago, Trep was pretty much dead. But then I guess the Widow Mines and, you know, the reinforcements of the Protoss arrived, and the battery over here also definitely putting in a lot of work. Once you warp in enough reinforcements, it's very, very defendable once again, but it's always a little bit dangerous, right? Especially without splash damage. These top-of-the-line Protoss players have gotten very good at holding on with absolute minimal amounts of units. Clem really wants this Protoss to come down. He's like, yeah, no, come play. Apparently it's not going to happen. I mean, it might happen at some point. Okay, trying to get some lucky force fields. Zealots getting some decent detonations in. I think this is maybe gonna trigger Clem though to go back home. Yeah, Terran reinforcements have arrived. Looks like he was just regrouping here for a little bit. Okay, the Zealots are gonna go towards what seems to be the third base of the Terran player that just finished up. It's gonna take them a little bit, but they do have that charge upgrade, so they are nice and fast. The Zealot leg enhancement. Ooh, I love that actually. You see that? Wonderful moves right there by our Protoss player. So what he was doing right there was dragging the Widowmine's fire over the Terran army itself. So he was sacrificing the Phoenixes to try and deal as much friendly fire to those Terran units as possible. The Phoenixes obviously are very helpful to have around for a little while longer, but he was dragging the fire absolutely brilliantly there. Making these Widowmines deal about as much damage to the Terran units as they did to the Protoss. And that's one way to break out of that, well, soft contain, I suppose. Alright. Are we gonna go for a fourth base? Of course we are. This is trap we're talking about. When you're ahead, get more ahead. He is gonna go for a bit of an aggression as well on the other side of the map, it seems, but... some poking and prodding, maybe. Okay. Are we going a little too deep here? Because there's a lot of Marines and Marauders on the right side, yeah. I think we are going a little bit too aggressively here. Mules apparently also leading the battle. Even though Mules do not actually have the ability to attack. I'm not sure exactly why. I still believe that the reason why Mules can't attack is probably because Blizzard just forgot adding it in back in Wings of Liberty and then just kind of, you know, ran with it. Because SCVs can attack. Mules cannot, like, they do not have an attack animation. I'm pretty sure the guy that, like, coded the mule just forgot adding in an attack animation for it and decided, you know what? It was intended all along. If they decided to implement it later, obviously, they would be admitting mistakes. And, yeah, it's just awkward. Not that the mule really needs an attack animation, by the way, but I always thought it was kind of funny. When you pull all the workers, the mules just kind of hang there, doing absolutely nothing. Anyways, Zealots charging forward over here, getting a ton of damage done. Clemdo kiting backwards once again, trying to bait this Protoss army. And there is still no splash damage in this force, other than the one Archon. Oh, good force field over there. Yeah, decent force field, I guess. Trapping a bunch of the Zealots as well. A lot of these Zealots, speaking of which, they are running dangerously low on health. And even though, obviously, they do regenerate their shields, they are going to be easy pickings here for the Terran player. Clem just kiting back and forth, trying to get as much damage done as possible once again. Ooh, okay. That Widowmine over there getting a good hit as well. We did see some decent force fields again, trapping a few of these Protoss units, but at this point, that Protoss army is starting to dwindle, right? We see so many of these Terran units coming up. What are the upgrades at? Just 1-1? Seems to me like Clem wants to win with this particular fight right over here. Battery overcharge is gonna run out very soon. That's awkward. Okay, nice pickups right there. They did manage to land an EMP, so at the very least, there's not gonna be any future pickups for a little bit. Clem seems like such a dangerous player. Yeah, there it is. GG is cold. Just very patiently fighting over the course of like 5 minutes until he eventually gets a small advantage and then he builds it up from there. Alrighty. Up next is Hardwire. I've still got a little bit of tea, but I'm already running low. I think we're like, what, 25 minutes into this? It's 1-1. These players seem to be very evenly matched. Alright. Pylon in the main base. I'm a play-by-play commentator right now. Supply depot in the main base as well. We're gonna go for a scouting SCV. I'm expecting a gas. There it is. Is he gonna go for barracks as a follow-up as well? Oh, we're gonna put the barracks over here. Is that what we're doing? Alright. We're just gonna do the cheeky little, we called this once upon a time the Mecha Rex. So, Mecha. Let me actually... Mecha. Terran. Liquipedia. There used to be a Terran player called Mecha. Back in... Yeah, he retired in 2013. In January 2013 is when he retired from StarCraft 2. He used to play back in the early days of StarCraft 2 in the GSL tournaments. And he would do this move called the Mecha Rex. And I guess we still call it that. Anyways. Basically what you do is you just plant your barracks literally anywhere but the expected position. So what happens right now is that Trap is scouting around, and he's like, wait, there's a gas geyser? But there's nothing inside of the main base. Is the barracks on my side of the map? Trap though? May not have been around during the Mecha days, but he does manage to scout it. It's one of those little moves that really doesn't matter much for the Terran player. Matters a little bit, because obviously the SCV has to travel slightly further. He could have planted it over here, or over here. Protoss player probably would have never found it. Anyways, I've always liked the move, because it forces the Protoss player to respond to it. Although, again, at the professional level, these kind of things really don't make much of a difference. It's just a bit of a skill check for the opponent, right? It's like, do you remember what you're supposed to do, right? Are you familiar with the moves that you're supposed to make? Because we figured these sort of builds out. We know how to respond to those. But are you familiar with how it's done as well? Even though we may have not seen this in like a long time. Anyways, turns out the response for this, for the Protoss player at least, is to just pretend that nothing weird's going on at all. Just play a normal game. Especially once you find it. But maybe you're gonna have to leave that adept at home for a little while longer. Although when Mecha was around, back in 2013, or 2012, 2011 or so, the adept wasn't even a unit yet. Alright. Interesting setup right here for the Terran player, but as long as all of those structures are hotkeyed, the production really shouldn't be halted whatsoever. A Stargate opener. Never expected that. No, Stargate is going to be coming up right here for Trap. Apparently this is his current bread and butter. If you are looking for a strong macro start in this matchup, I do recommend playing the way the Trap plays. Just, you know, play really good. I actually used to play this build myself from Trap a long time ago. This is not really a build that's played anymore at the professional level, but it was like a 2-base Colossus opener. I still play this from time to time whenever I do play with Protoss against Terran. Are we gonna make a wall with the probe? Alright, ambitious. I think we should lift one of those. Yep. It was a very nice build because... Ooh, I love the SimCity over here as well. It was a really nice build because you could basically make it so that the Terran player couldn't really be aggressive against you. And most of the time, Terran players do tend to be quite aggressive. And with a proper wall off right over here at the front and with quick Colossi, you can shut down pretty much all the pushes. Not maybe a build to play at the pro level. Or, you know, above like Grandmaster League. But I managed to make it all the way to Master 1 playing that build order in Protoss versus Terran. So it's at the very least viable. Anyhow. We do have some potential here for marine aggression. We'll probably see the switcheroo right here on the reactor. With the starport here very soon. Alright. Adepts managed to get a peek into the main base as well. Phoenix is already hanging out right behind the Terran's main base. Again, no missile turrets or anything along those lines, so a little bit of damage will be done here. This is not bad at all. They'll be back for more in a little bit if you're not careful. Barracks number 3 is coming up as well, and Clem once again is going to be able to pump out a ton of units. Again though, Trap is going to heavily outexpend him. So it is something that that Clem is going to have to try and slow down. He needs to deal some sort of damage with the army that he's building. Because economically speaking, Trap is going to be very happy. Already you can see that chrono boost kicking in, right? 44 versus 34 workers. Not bad whatsoever. And, well, gotta slice a few more of those SCVs off of that. Trap just sending them around in, like, circles around the base. Going from the natural to the main. And, well, you gotta be careful, I guess. One thing that's easy to forget with Phoenixes, and I've had this in many of my own games, is that they are energy-based units. These are flying magicians over here, okay? They're spellcasters. Anyways, they do have an energy count, and you do need energy to be able to use that graviton lift ability of theirs. And obviously, at this point, since they have been lifting already, there's not going to be that much energy available for them to pick up any of these units. Okay, Widowmine right there does get killed. There is some energy here as well. Battery overcharge can't be used until the Nexus is done, so if Clem wants to push, I think he should do it right about right now. Every second here that goes by should be better and better for Trap. Nice moves right there. Oh, force field as well. Very nicely done right here by Trap so far. All right, looks like this attack has been shut down for the time being. And again, the longer that this goes on, since there is already a small eco advantage right now for Trap, the bigger his army will become as well, right? So he's adding on 4 gateways right now. Charge is going to be very good. Okay, these Widow Mines, nicely done. Good split there as well, by the way, by Trap. Loses one of them, but better than losing many. Still no third command center anywhere, though, for Clem, so he's definitely planning on laying down the law. There is an SCV moving down towards the low ground, so I do expect there to be a third CC on the back of this again, but Clem will need to get some sort of damage done. Okay. We already did see those Phoenixes used to draw that Widowmine fire earlier. Probably something that's in the back of Trap's mind once again. Now, this position over here does feel really nice for the Terran, right? Not really a whole lot of range for those shield batteries here. Okay, shield battery overcharge is utilized in the natural expo. Gateways did go and, or did end up going down over there, one of them at least, so it made it a bit easier for those zealots to engage. Every time I see these battles, man, I look at the Protoss army and it always looks so small, and I think this time around it may have just been ever so slightly too little. Okay. It's a literal minefield out here, though. It's going to be difficult for the Protoss player to engage into this. Shutting down these pylons is going to make it hard as well to defend. Assuming the shield battery is obviously powered, though. It should be still doable. Okay, here we go. Once again, he's trying to draw that fire. Massive hit right there from that Widow Mine on top of all of the Marines. The problem is, there's just simply so many Medivacs. Yeah, Clem just stood his ground there. He probably realized the move that his opponent was making. Is like, you know what? I don't really care this time around. I've done enough damage earlier. This position for you really isn't very good. GG is cold. And Clem wins. Game 4. It's on Berlingrad. I feel like I haven't casted this map as much as the others. It's actually a very good map. I really like this one. But for some reason, I haven't... it's probably just a series. It's probably just coincidence. It's probably just a series that I've been casting and the games that I've been featuring on the channel. For some reason, I haven't seen as many games on Berlingrad as the others, even though this map does seem very good. Let me actually pull up the stats real quick. Berlingrad. I'm curious to see the win-loss ratio. So for Terran versus Protoss... Ooh, okay. It's got a 43.5% win rate for Protoss. So apparently this is a very, very good Terran map. At the professional level, we have seen a grand total of 200 games apparently at this point. 87 of them going in favor of the Protoss, 113 going in favor of the Terran. Obviously, though, that doesn't mean that this map is automatically super imbalanced as well. The thing is, this used to be similar with a bunch of the other maps that we've seen in the past. Certain maps seem to be in favor of one race initially, and then as the map was around for a little while longer, maps and strategies were figured out more and more, and then, you know, that tide flipped. Either way, I'm looking at the win-loss ratio, right? So, this is actually very curious. So, for Terran versus Zerg, about 60% of the games go in favor of Zerg. For Zerg versus Protoss, about 55% of the games go in favor of Protoss. And then for Terran versus Protoss, about, well, like I said, 43% of the games are won by Protoss. So, in each of the matchups, apparently, yeah, interesting. So one time Zerg is ahead, one time one time Zerg is ahead, one time Protoss is ahead, and then one time Terran is ahead. Interesting. Normally it's like one map is heavily in favor of Terran because of the layout and because of the way that they can expand and stuff, or it's really good for the Zerg player because the bases are so spaced out. Apparently Berlingrad. Definitely a map that needs a little bit more figuring out, but it does seem to be pretty good for the Zerg player, especially in Terran versus Zerg. Anyways, in a best-of-5 series, Clem being such a jerk over here. Already, though, there is a probe on the other side of the map. In a best-of-5 series, you can veto one map. So the way that StarCraft 2 tournaments work is if you're playing a best-of-5, since there are 7 maps in the map pool, both players get to veto one map each. And you gotta pick your poison, right? You gotta choose whatever map you dislike the most. Anyways, it is once again going to be a Stargate, despite the fact that there was a probe out on the map. Stargate was planted inside of the main base. Clem obviously did delay his opponent quite nicely there, but he also delayed himself. So, big picture here. I mean, the command center, I guess, is ever so slightly quicker than the Nexus. But it's not like those it's not like those NG bays that he produced on the other side of the map were free. So he kind of slowed himself down a little bit too. Couple of Pokemon hiding in the tall grass. Let's see if Clem brought his Pokeballs over here, because this could actually backfire. Cyclone will probably be staying at home. No? Are we going to send it out as well? Okay. I feel like this Oracle's very late. Am I crazy? It's actually not too late. This will be spotted right now as well by Trap. He's gonna get a couple of free hits. Zealots deal so much damage. Oof. Decides to just cancel the Shade over here as well. Oracle comes up. It is gonna be able to finish the job that those Adepts started, and that was really good. Only Zachary the Zealot ended up going down, picking up a couple more straggling Terran units here in the middle of the map. Cyclone number 2 is available though. He's gonna get the lock on, trying to fly over that little crevice. He loses the sight right there, and well, the Oracle will stay alive for a little while longer. Alright. Twilight Council a little bit quicker this time around. We haven't really seen any Robo play yet, right? Whenever I think of Terran versus Protoss, I feel like recently we've been seeing a lot of Disruptor play and a lot of Colossi, but apparently Trap in this series not really feeling it. Not really going for any Disruptors. Have we seen a single Disruptor yet? No. Not a single Colossus yet either. These games so far have been very much so decided by strategy. I like that actually about Terran versus Protoss. Zerg versus Terran and Zerg versus Protoss can oftentimes be decided just by worker kills, right? This is a matchup that feels very strategic. This is crazy, I know. Ooh. Yeah. Whenever I see the depots down like that, you think it's a misplay from the Terran. Terran used to like force the Protoss units to stay out of the main base very diligently all of the time, but these days they're sort of like inviting the Adepts in, right? Because you know there's gonna be that one moment of greed where the Protoss is like, ooh, I've got 3 Adepts in the main base, I'm gonna go and one-shot all of those SCVs. The problem is, those Adepts are never gonna go home, and Terran will probably lose like 1 SCV. So it's almost like an invitation, it's a warm welcome, you know? He's got one of those doormats right over here saying, be welcome, Adepts. Please wipe your shoes, or... Anyways, left side of the map, there is a gateway coming up. Alright. Are we once again doing that thing where we're attacking each other? I think we are doing that thing again. Third Nexus, well, that's not gonna happen. Okay, it looks like Trap actually wants to be marching towards the other side. Scan right here on the high ground reveals a very, very small group of Stalkers. So I think that Clem at this point realizes that, wait a second, that Protoss army is too small. There's something out there. Blink is gonna finish up. Is this the first time we've seen Blink as well in this series? That's actually wild. I think it is. Man, I've seen so many random Marines going down in this series. Yeah, Blink is very strong, obviously. Cyclone number 1 ends up going down. Cyclone number 2 still getting some shots in. Trap now also using that gateway from the left side of the map to reinforce this Protoss army. Cyclone number 2 ends up going down as well. Stimpack at this point is done, but keep in mind there's no Medivacs. Well, there's 2 of them apparently now, but at the very least these Terran units are not going to be healed up indefinitely. Yeah, he's just going to continue onwards with this harassment for a little while longer. As long as those SCVs aren't mining, economically speaking, yeah, this is gonna look better and better here for Trap. He didn't plant down the third Nexus again, by the way. Instead, he's decided to go for additional gateways. So this is very quickly turning into an all-in right here. Charges of follow-up, also Templar Archives. So this opens up the opportunity for Trap to make some Archons here, which is gonna be very scary. Ooh, he's gonna go straight for Storm? Really? Okay, no, he's gonna go third Nexus and Storm. I thought we were gonna go for like a 2-base all-in. Alright, Trap making the executive decision to take it a little bit easier. Just using the Stalkers here to deal as much damage as possible. To poke at whatever Terran unit he can find. Yeah, and with good micro, you can keep a lot of those units alive and get a lot of free Terran units as well. Nice targeting there once again. Yep. It's a Marauder, it's a Hellion, it's a Marine. Alright, so we are gonna get our first proper source of splash damage here out in the field. Terran on 2 bases really can't get any ghost out or anything along those lines. I mean, you really do need 3 base eco in order to reliably make those. I mean, maybe he's gonna prove me wrong, but I think the strategy Clem will probably deploy instead is to try and go for, like, multi-pronged harassment and just split against all of those storms, but it's gonna be quite dangerous. Okay, there are 3 High Templar available. Not all heroes wear capes, but these do. Widowmine drop, right side of the map. Blink. Yeah, this Widowmine is gonna get hit. Okay, not bad. 5 workers over there. This Widowmine looks like it might be able to fire as well. Yeah, it's trying to be as annoying as possible. Okay, that Widowmine may be a little bit too ambitious. That medevac drop over there, trying to get maximum amounts of damage done. Clem has spotted the 3rd Nexus right now on the right side of the map, so instead he's moving in from the left. This has now been seen as well here by our Protoss player, and this high ground over here is going to be very nice for storms, right? He knows that there's storm available. Yeah, why would there just be a couple of those heroes with capes flying around? Careful though, careful though. Alright. Trap right there. Actually blinking at the perfect micro, but almost ended up losing a couple of those units. A couple of random Widow Mines though. Just walk into the 3rd base? Alright. Oh. Clem seemed kind of dead earlier, but he's crawling himself back into this match. Robo facility comes up. Third command center finally finished here as well for Clem. Already though, Trap is thinking about a 4th Nexus. It doesn't really have that much eco, right? Like, the worker count is a bit of a deception in this matchup, because obviously mules are still a thing. So despite the fact that right now Clem isn't getting as much income, it's because he has only got 1 mule. Or no, he's got 2 mules mining. Yeah, there you go. So now it's gonna be evened up once again, despite the fact that he's 7 workers behind. Zealots though would like to lower that SCV count a little bit more. Widowmine drop once again. Five probes end up going down there. These are not gonna happen, but there's quite a few workers here actually in the grand scheme of things. He even spots the little thing right there on the high ground as well, the stasis ward. Zealots though smell their opportunity. They realize that if this Terran army is on the other side of the map, they'll try and, like, apparently attack the command center there for good measure, but mostly go after the SCVs. Alright. Yeah, so still no ghost transition from our Terran player. Okay, well, actually, that was a ghost. I saw a ghost on the production tab. I was gonna say that ghost transition becomes so important. Ghosts, in case you're unfamiliar, they have a skill called EMP. I think it's Electromagnetic Pulse. Essentially what they can do is remove shields, but also energy out of Protoss units. Temporarily. But obviously, if you can remove energy out of High Templar, or for example sentries, that's pretty good. That's also the reason why they are inside of this prism. By the way, 11 probes ended up going down here. Okay, we do have a cheeky little Widowmine drop apparently happening. Zealots over here trying to get some work done too. If you EMP a medevac, or sorry, not a medevac, a war prism, where these High Templar are in, nothing happens. I mean, the prism loses its shields, but apparently, I don't know, they're in like a little bubble or something, a High Templar inside of these medevacs, or warp. You get what I'm getting at. Kind of dangerous. Now, obviously, the problem here is if you end up losing this war prism, that kind of sucks, right? Because you lose all of the units that are inside of it as well. And prisms actually don't really have that much sustainability. Colossi right now is a follow-up as well. Ranged upgrade there too for the Colossus. He's gonna extend his thermal lance, as they say in the business. Probably the one upgrade that has sparked more jokes than any other StarCraft 2 upgrade. Once again, I like this little harassment a lot. Softening up so many of these Terran units, buying a bunch of time as well. 2 Colossi are out, but at this point they don't actually have their ranged upgrade yet. These choke points over here on Berlingrad, though, are pretty sweet for those units. Disruptors now also added into the mix. Zealots on the left side of the map. 4th command center is going to be flying on over towards the location. Clem actually ahead right now as far as the supply goes. Only at +1. Wait, really? We're only at +1 armor out of all things? Really not liking the upgrade situation here for Terran at all. Protoss looking a little bit better as far as that goes. Doing a good job right now with all of the micro here and the multitasking, although the Colossi were trying to meet this army head on, and apparently, oh my god, one of them apparently, well, found himself without the rest of the party. A little bit painful, though a couple of the Terran units here will be nipped in the butt as well in the back of this. Colossus, though, will get sniped. How many High Templar do we still have? We have 3 High Templar out. Okay, a couple of them have morphed into an Archon as well. There's random Widow Mines in random locations all over the map. But I think that this is the moment that Clem has been trying to avoid for a while. Trap is now going in for what seems to be an all-out assault. Ranged is done, and those upgrades for the Terran really aren't helping him out here whatsoever. 15 SCVs go down. Once again, a massive storm right there on that ramp, preventing a lot of this Terran army from coming up. There's still that one Immortal from earlier as well. It's now got 4 kills, but it's going to have a field day against this very Marauder-heavy army. Yeah, and at this point, I think that might just be a little bit too much Protoss. Storms are blanketing on top of that Terran army. There it is. Alrighty. Our final game for today is going to be on Glittering Ashes. Spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have Trap. And his opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red SCVs, we are looking at Clem. Alrighty, so since we've been talking about the maps, Glittering Ashes, let us have a quick little look at the win-loss ratio for the different matchups. So, the previous map was pretty bad for Protoss. This map, however, apparently has 57% win rate for Protoss against Terran at the professional level. So, you know, that's pretty good. After going for the cheeky little Maca Rex, this time around we actually have a proxy barracks. Clem building a Rex right here instead of the 3rd base or 4th base of the Protoss player. Trap's probably gonna get across the map and he's like, haha, you're doing the same trick twice? No, this time around it's actually some commitment. Yeah, he's probably not gonna find out about this barracks until the first units are pumping out of it. Double refinery here from Clem. So he's definitely planning on building quite a few units. Wouldn't even be surprised to see maybe the factory also being proxied, although he could obviously build that over here too. At this point, Trap sees the timing. Just gonna be a Reaper for now. Where are we going? Oh, we are gonna proxy the factory, but apparently on another side of the map? Really? Clem once again blocking his opponent's natural. Just being as annoying as possible here. No, I thought we were gonna go for... Wait, where are we gonna plant the factory? Are we not gonna plant the factory? Are we gonna have way too much gas? Alright, there we go. Yeah, factory does go up. Maybe he was thinking about it for a second, or maybe he was just checking that there was no proxy Stargate as a retaliation here. Either way, Reaper at this point is out. Zealot also out. Zealot trying to see if it can kill the NG Bay here. But that obviously gives the Reaper right here free reign of the main base for a little bit. Good control here so far by Trap. Chrono boosting out the Adept as well. And the Adept obviously is going to be, well, the one that's meant to take care right here of the Reaper. A little arrow right there indicating for the Reaper guy as well exactly where it can go. Is it going to be able to stay alive? He wanted to go for the 200 IQ grenade shot there. Not quite happening. And in the end, yeah, this really wasn't that successful of a start here whatsoever, right? I mean, 3rd CC is quicker, or sorry, 2nd CC rather, is quicker here for the Terran player. But that's really about it. Stargate once again from Trap. Apparently this is just the way he likes to play right now. Can't blame him. Seems very flexible in many ways. Anyways, Probe right there instead of the main base. Did spot the little nuclear sign right over there. But for the time being, this is looking like a pretty good situation right here for Protoss. Once again, following it up with a much quicker Twilight Council. The problem is, right, when you go for a build like this as well, any follow-up is going to be so much slower. He's going for another barracks at home right now, but if you wanted to go for, like, a quick stim pack as a follow-up, it's just not going to happen. Because you need a barracks, right? And since the barracks is on the other side of the map, I mean, you're going to either have to produce another barracks and then do the switcheroo. It basically is going to force Clem to be a lot more laid back for the next few minutes. Stasis ward going up in the middle of the map. Any Terran unit that wants to go across basically has to go through that. I mean, there are multiple paths as well, but if you're just gonna send them straight across the map, that is gonna be the default path they take, although Clem apparently not doing it over here. Blink is a follow-up here from Trap as well, so we only saw a single Stargate unit here. One more. Bzzzt. We need one more. Wow, dude. The Reaper apparently not really too concerned with anything. It's like, yep, I'll stop right here. I'll heal up. Not a big deal. Anyways. Looks like we're setting ourselves up for a nice little macro game here, though, in the final match of this series. So, real quick, by the way, generally speaking, as far as engineering bay upgrades go, the Terran units benefit way more from having attack upgrades. And in a previous game, unless I missaw, which could happen, but pretty sure Trap was going up against a Terran player who only had upgraded armor once, which really isn't that great. Upgrades are so huge, especially when you're going for like a marine-based army, right? Which Terran players will pretty much always do. Every single one of the Terran Marines benefits from those upgrades, so obviously you can imagine, you know, armies that are made up out of like smaller amounts of units or like larger units on their own, but like fewer units in total, they would benefit, yeah, less from having those sorts of upgrades. Now, there are units in the game as well that get multiple bonus attacks, like for example the Immortal. The Immortal doesn't just get +1 for every single one of its attacks, it gets a little bit more than that, but in general, when you have units based around like, or armies rather based around like gateway units, like Stalkers and for example Zealots, or units like Zerglings and Banelings, or Marines and Marauders, upgrades just become infinitely more important. Anyways, Oracle right here providing high ground vision, so these Protoss units can go into the main base, although yeah, he sees the army over there. There is also a Raven accumulating energy all the way in the bottom right hand corner of the map. That one will probably be throwing a bunch of auto turrets here. You can actually park it in between the natural and the third base and then continuously deal damage as the game progresses. Assuming you don't all army hotkey it back, but I don't think it's gonna happen. From someone of the caliber of Clem. Alright, the additional gateways are finishing up. Here's auto turret number 1. These do count towards kills right here on the Raven. So you can see the Raven right now. 4 confirmed kills, 5 confirmed kills. I love Raven openers on this map, it's so good. So the thing is, you can't actually reach this. Like, you can make a Phoenix, right? And obviously, since Trap has been showing a lot of Phoenixes this series so far. Really? I think we could have dropped it. Anyways. It would be kind of... Yeah, he's making one right now just to get rid of that Phoenix, or that unit, because he knows that there's going to be a lot of drama. Even getting a couple of Stalker kills over here as well. Clem actually going in for what seems to be a big attack right now. Okay, nice lock-on right there with the Cyclones as well. Siege tank from a distance. Good force fields there, though. Oof. Grabbing a bunch of big hitting units there, but also the Widow Mines dealing a bunch of damage. Stalkers coming in from the back. Raven over here, trying to join up with the rest of this force. Can't blame him for that. This is a very awkward battle, actually. Clem seemingly having much more stuff there than his opponent, but then the Stalkers joined in from the back. Despite the fact that there were quite a few good Widowmine hits there, I think there might just be enough for the Protoss to push this back. Although, still, I'm always a little hesitant, man. I see these Protoss army and they look so juicy. They look like something that the Terran player can just kite against for a long time, but for some reason, these top-of-the-line Protoss players always manage to defend eventually. Widowmine over here. Oh, Widowmine was trying to shoot at the Phoenix, but it unburrowed just barely in the nick of time. Third command center did finish during all of this. Pylon actually parked right next to the third CC. Clem mentioned in the past, over the last few weeks or so, that he's been feeling very comfortable in Terran versus Protoss. Trap, obviously a world-class Protoss player. And he definitely seems to be very strong, although they seem to be very evenly matched. Trap actually historically insanely good as well in Protoss versus Terran. That was like his main matchup for a very long time. He was struggling in Protoss versus Zerg, but his PvT was something that he could just build tournaments off of. Until he faced like a Zerg player. Anyways. Oh god, this is awkward. Trap actually expecting that third Nexus, or command center rather, to be taken. He's even building a... Okay. He's even building a gateway right over there for speedier warp-ins. Those Zealots, yeah, they just get rerouted right now towards that actual third base of the Terran player. Anyways, this can do a lot of damage though. There are some Terran reinforcements. Clem wants to get this base. He is slowly inching his way towards this location as well, hoping the Protoss player loses patience here and that he can draw him right on top of all of these Widow Mines. Good pickup right there as well, once again by Clem. 8 SCVs end up going down though. The Ghost Academy has also been spotted, so Trap knows that the Ghost transition will probably be coming up. But eventually, I think there might just barely be enough right here for the Protoss player to just push this back. Revelation there as well, being exceptionally helpful. Now this is a bit awkward. Clem knows that there were a bunch of Zealots, but probably expected those to be rallied from the natural and then all the way around the map. Or maybe a pylon somewhere over here. Probably not expecting this pylon to be so close by. Anyways, there's a second wave right here of Zealots. Okay, getting a Widow Mine, charging at the Marines or at the SCVs right there. Still gonna go for the Storm as a follow-up regardless. I mean, to be fair, that worked out wonderfully for him last game as well. Despite the fact that there were some ghosts out eventually. Okay, Stasis Ward over there not helping. Nice snipe right there though by Trap on that Raven. The Raven's still around from earlier. Probably had about a dozen confirmed kills at this point. Feedback from the High Templar first. And this has been a battle here for a while. Now keep in mind, in the previous games, we saw Trap doing this with 4 bases for a long time. He's thinking about making a 4th Nexus, but he also knows that if he warps in a 4th Nexus over here, that is going to be resources that aren't going to attacking units. So he's probably still going to take it here soon enough, but it is a little bit of a gamble. Looks like eventually, though, Protoss has broken out of that third base contain. Supply-wise, though, this is looking mighty fine right there. Right now for Clem. 4th Nexus is coming up. No Storm drops this time around. It's going to be a bunch of Zealots right here inside of these planes. 2 Widow Mines over here trying to get some work done as well. Trap thinking he should be going on the aggression, but I'm not 100% sure about that. A few more Zealots being warped in here as well. Widow Mines might be able to connect with the Prism. Yep. Although the Prism does need 2 hits right there for it to be picked off. Protoss now is going to be able to go for a big engagement over here. I mean, I say big engagement. There's barely any Protoss army. Widow Mines obviously... Or sorry, the Prism is on the other side, right? So it's not really an army that can easily be reinforced either. Storm coming up. This is a very dangerous play right here from Trap. He has no way of reinforcing this army. Okay, does get feedbacks right there on a bunch of these ghosts, but he loses a few of the units as well. I honestly don't really like that move. Prism did apparently get recalled back home. Okay. Trap decides to go back. 4th Command Center done right around the same time as the 4th Nexus. And as we all know, that's an advantage right here for Terran. Despite the fact that apparently this map is very good for Protoss in PvT. This is looking very good right here for Clem. Clement, they plunge. Is there enough right now? There might just be a little bit too much Terran here. Yeah, he's just going through as many of these units as possible. Colossus is gonna pop very soon. The Marauders were thinking about sniping it as well. Immortal's very good against Marauders. And the Colossus is obviously very good here against Marines. At the same time, all of the Terran reinforcements are going on over towards that newly acquired base for the Protoss player. There's also, though, a few Zealots here going in for the counterattack, dealing a lot of damage. At this point, I don't know if Trap realizes that his opponent has got 4 base. He does not know. Eventually, the 3rd Nexus does go down. 4th Nexus also in a world of trouble. I think Trap is probably reading this as now basically 2-base Terran, but it's actually an entirely new base that's just been acquired that he doesn't know of. Planetary Fortress is going to be there as well, so now he's probably assuming it's 2-base versus 2-base, but in reality, Clem has got way more economy. Those SCVs that he shoved away from that 3rd base have already found a new mining location. And these are, yeah, bringing in a lot of very juicy resources. 26 probes end up going down here as well. Got a couple of Zealots here awkwardly marching into that Terran force. Colossi, though, are having a really good time. Not actually having that many confirmed kills yet, but they are dealing a lot of damage. Nice little bit of micro here as well by Trap, trying to pick up the unit that's being attacked. Clem, though, creating a sandwich right here on his army. A couple of Vikings here in the mix too. A lot of these Terran units, though, are running very low on health. So do the Protoss. Clem at this point, though, so much supply ahead. Okay, I was gonna say, where's that supply at? Well, here's the reinforcement showing up. We are now at a 90 supply advantage here for Clem. Trap hits the GG button on the keyboard. And with that, it is gonna be Team Liquid's Clem who obtains the victory.